everybody. This is no one, Black Hole Gaming or League, or whatever you want to call it. We're doing a new section called the old heads of Rainbow Six Siege console comp. No, has no relation to the age necessarily. But we're pretty much just going to be interviewing some people who have been in comp for a little bit. We got our first guest here. Everybody might know him as the femboy, one of the femboy leaders. You might know him as Stretch, 5.2 leader, whatever you want to call him. Um, you know, Go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself. Let's say orgs,
Uh,
teams.
yeah, so like you said, my name is Stretch, otherwise known as the Stretcher. I am the captain in IGL of 5.2.
How long have you been the captain of 5.2, would you say?
Uh, Technically I started the team in like early 2020, like with a way different roster, but I've like had the same team name since then or whatever, so about 5 years or so, I'd argue, but
Okay,
however you
okay.
want to take that.
So you've been in the scene. So was 5.2 your start, you would say, as far as console
As
comp?
comp? No.
Yes.
No, I've played. See, it's year 10 now. I think I started in year 3, technically. So I got into comp with one of my friends, Jules or Dizzer or Crazy, whatever he wants to go by now. He got me into comp, cause if you know Scissor from Excel's League, he was running a team back then called Excel, and he made a looking for group host on Xbox and recruited through that. So me and my friend Crazy just did it that way, got a tryout and played our first little game. But yeah, since then I've been on uh 3 teams total. So hadn't really been around too much.
Uh, I know everybody knows you from HMC. We'll say, is that your only org for that you've been in?
No. 5.2 started out under No Mercy when that was still around, and that's where I'd say we got most of our league wins from. With that's where uh there wasn't like super competitive teams back then, but the ones that were competitive just weren't good enough to like win against us. So we kind of farmed under them, and after they kind of disbanded, we went to Double OG, but that was like a very short stint since uh we got the HMC offer with play or paid per game and all that stuff, and negotiations went well. So other than that, we were with HMC for like 2 years, a year and a half, somewhere around that area, and now we're under Black Hole.
Shout out. All right. So it's a little introduction. As of right now, are you active, retired? Like, what's your status in the console comp community as of this moment?
Uh, Unfortunately, I'm still active. There's still
Hey,
like money to be
hey,
made in leagues to win, so I can't
hey.
retire until I've like won everything, unfortunately.
Till you, oh,
But
you won the black hole. As I say, till you win the black hole, but you've done that.
yeah, nah, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of hard to keep playing comp right now because like the name of the podcast is like Unks or whatever, and I'm like older than everyone in this scene.
Old heads, not unks. See,
Unks, old
don't
heads,
don't you don't gotta
did.
bring age into it, okay?
I
Okay.
mean, it's like obviously like my like actual age. I'm older than like a lot of people, but like I've been playing comp since forever, and there's like not many people who's like been around for as long as I have, and like also made it like consistently playing and like never dropped out for like a year or something like that. Like I haven't had a break from comp since I started.
Okay. So you said a message from, was it Scissor that got you into it?
No, so Scissor made a group post or whatever, and one of my friends, Crazy, or he goes by Dizzer now, he like reacted to the post and say like, yeah, we'll play it or whatever. And it was a scrim. It was a best of three scrim, and I still remember against who it was against a team named Vendetta or whatever, and we were under the Excel name. So yeah, we played that uh under Scissor, and then he was like our rep or whatever, but he didn't play, and he kind of just wanted to make like a pseudo org or whatever, and then he kind of abandoned it after a little bit. Wasn't really his forte.
Okay, okay. So there wasn't specifically like a a player or whatever like that might have inspired you to start, maybe not get into comp, but start taking Siege a little more seriously.
No, not really. I mean, I played a ranks back then, but it wasn't ever like serious. I would kind of just like hit plat and like just kind of go from there, like solo queue or group posts and stuff like that. But I mean, that got boring after a while, so I tried taking ranked more serious. So I got like a stack going, and then eventually that stack or whatever ended up getting into that group post and just going from there. But like, there wasn't ever an individual player, like pro league player, that got me into playing comp or whatever.
Okay, okay. Well then, how about Siege? Like, what got you into the game itself?
So I grew up playing Call of Duty a ton. Like my dad introduced me to
Hey,
Call of Duty or whatever, and we would play like split screen and
I
stuff,
feel that.
like on World at War, Black Ops, Modern Warfare, all that. And it was around Black Ops 3. I wasn't taking Black Ops 3 as serious as like my other friends. Like they were doing like montages on YouTube with like trying to get in the SOAR clan or like the Phase 5 tryouts or whatever. And I wasn't really big into that. I kind of liked doing Dom or search and destroy with like ninja defusing and stuff like that, and just doing like melee only challenges. But I like sniping, so one of my friends or whatever, he was playing Siege, and I never heard of it. I knew like Tom Clancy's from Splinter Cell, but I never heard of Siege or anything like that. And he told me that he's like, yeah, this game has a sniper in it. It's pretty fun. I was like, okay, I'll try it out. So I ended up buying the game, and Glaz and Doc were my first operators, and it wasn't anything like Call of Duty, but it was like slow paced, which is like a welcome change, I guess.
That COD comp scene, I was in it for a while. It can be very, very quick to where half the time, sometimes you don't even realize what you're doing. Like a lot of it just becomes muscle memory. It feels like it's some.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't even like big into like COD comp, like gamer battles or whatever it was called, or the wagering system. I forgot what it was called. I wasn't really big into that. It was just like I liked doing ninja diffusing and like
You
trying
just
to like kind of sweat and search and destroy, but like still have fun or whatever.
okay. So you was just kind of casually just a troll a loler. You could say you
I
just.
guess you could say that. I was still doing good. I
Well, I
brass
mean,
knuckles are OP back then.
oh, they
You can get
were.
a one hit.
But you could say like you were more into like Ninja Diffusion was your fun.
Yeah,
So it's kind of more trollish than not. Like I was a quick
yeah,
scoper. I like the quick scope. I like the snipe. Like I got
yeah,
big into like some. I'm not gonna say like big names or whatever, but I got into some like little underground orgs. I've done LAN tournaments and stuff for COD.
yeah,
But
yeah. Because
yeah.
that was the goal at first, but dude, I don't know. It's just like, cause one, like I said, one of my friends that like I was IRLs with or whatever, he was big into like sniping and trying to get into like phase 5 and stuff like that. And like I never really thought about doing like content creation, which is like what you're gonna have to do if you wanna, like get into phase or something like that.
No, okay, get a little off track. You got me throwing back on my COD days now. Man, it's been so long. back to Siege Comp and change of pace again. Glass was who convinced you the first. Well, I guess we got Cali now. There's still only two snipers in the game, which is kind of crazy. All right, is it? Yeah, it's only two. It's Glass and yeah, Glass and Cali.
Yeah.
Famer. But yeah, so that's interesting. I've never heard of anybody that got into Siege because they like sniping.
Yeah.
That's actually kind of funny. But so when you first joined, were there any like I know there's been a lot of changes as far as orgs, teams, and whatever happened. Were there any like standout organizations at the times?
Yeah, so I can recall the biggest org when I first joined was an org called Third Eye Gaming. TEG is what it was short for.
Third Eye
Uh,
Gaming.
yeah, Third Eye Gaming. And it had some good teams. I mean, they were good for like back then standards, but like the meta's changed and like people have gotten just like better gradually over time. So I don't know, it's a whole different like scene compared to like how it was back then.
Oh, the game in general is just a whole different scene too.
Yeah.
Like 1.0 to 2.0. So, you said Third Eye Gaming. Okay, were there any standout teams like under that org, under any org?
I say they had good teams for like back then standards, but the only team name I can like remember is it was called A Team. Third Eye Gaming A Team.
A team. Yeah,
Yeah.
couldn't think of a name.
Yeah, I don't know. But then like after that there was like some orgs popping up, like MMG was like huge back then and they kind of dissipated. Uh other than that I can't really remember orgs that much. ZH22 is another one. Uh
Like what?
yeah, other
The
than that
names
I can't think of
the
anything.
names were so much cooler back then. I ain't gonna lie. uh,
Yeah.
what did you say? ZH22? Like who names an org that? It's kind of cool though.
Yeah, I have no clue what it stood for, but there was like ZH22 Black, ZH22 Deadlier, like a bunch. I don't know. It was crazy.
Okay. What about players? Were there any like super good players that stood out? Might still be around now. Might have retired, but like got you into the scene, or not into the scene, but like just when you came into the scene.
Yeah, so like I don't know if you keep up with Pro League. Like there's a bunch of like old players that were in console comp that transferred over pretty well, like Team Cruelty, like Matumbo, like as an example, Diffuser on M80, uh Asian when he was on the LG roster, Kobe Lax, Ashen, like just to name a few examples. But uh yeah, no, a lot of the players that existed back then that were really good don't uh or aren't really in the scene anymore. Like the highest like profile wise, clout wise, however you want to describe that player I can think of is like Tom. He's always kind of been interconnected with like uh higher up people, I guess. Like
And
people that are more notable,
so you
especially
saying
in like ranked or tourneys or whatever like that.
you referring to the Tom on 5.2? I'm assuming.
Yeah, Tom the Bomber, yeah.
So okay, well, speaking of that, so you saying like Kobe Lex, like those level people started in console? That's what you're saying?
Yeah, they all started console.
Crazy, I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah, there's a I'd say like almost a majority of the scene in PL is like console players. I don't know like EU like that. I've heard EU has like a bunch of old console players, but NA has a ton of old console players. Uh, yeah,
Okay.
I mean that's kind of how I choose to support teams or whatever. It's just like likability of the player, and if they were like an actual controller player on something like Xbox like Kobe Lax, I'm Kobe likes hater because zimming on console is kind of weird.
Oh, okay,
But
okay. We got some shade. Got some shade. Yeah, he
yeah,
went. He went to
I
pro
guess so.
league, and I mean, I guess he made it, but he really wasn't the fit
Yeah, he got
for
Dark
Dark Zero.
Zero as his
He,
first team, and
he,
now he's on Cloud9.
he wasn't the fit for Dark Zero though. But
Nah.
anyway, back to it. Back to it. All right. So we went over players and teams. Were there, like back then, was there any like signature rivalries, games you remember? Matches, like
Um,
anything that really stood out as just good.
that's a really good question. Cause like I said, I don't remember a bunch of the team names. I remember a bunch of the players, but it's like hard to remember like team names going back as far as like year 3, year 4. Like, uh, I liked playing against a team named Meta personally. They always had some players that were like some of my old players that didn't end on good terms, so it gave me like a kick in the butt to actually play the game and to like take it more serious than how I was already taking it.
Okay. So we got meta. Okay. Well, since you don't remember too much, we'll cut you a little slack on that aspect. But so I guess let's talk about 5.2 for a minute. All right. So how many of those players? Okay. First of all, how did 5.2 start?
So, like I said earlier, I was on a team called MMG or whatever, and I don't remember the exact reason, but basically I ended up getting removed for it, uh, removed from the team, and I didn't really want to join a team, so I kind of wanted to like carve out my own path, I guess you could say. So I decided to make a team or whatever, and I got like a good core going. They were like good dudes, good players, but we had a rivalry with a guy named Otto on a team called Average Cox or whatever, and he had like a bunch of like really good comp players from like teams like F6 and some other teams he had ran in the past or whatever. But we ended up playing him like 3 times in this week or whatever, and it was like a crazy week because like there was a bunch of leagues back then, but somehow we still pulled them 3 times in a week, and we ended up beating them like every single time or whatever. And like this auto guy is just a huge like shit talker, so I decided to troll him a little bit and change our team name to 5.2 since that would be slightly above average in the cock size.
Haha. So
Uh,
so
it kind of
that's
just
how the
stuck
team
ever
came to
since
be.
then. Yeah, and it kind of stuck then because it sounds cool too. But yeah, that's kind of how the name got started.
Okay. So how many players would you say on the current roster of 5.2? Because you're still going. How many of those current players are original players?
Players from like this original roster?
Yeah, from like are there any current players from the very first 5.2 roster besides yourself?
No, no, nuh-uh.
Okay. So who would you say is the next oldest player?
Um, I'd say Tom. I've known Tom for years. Because he's always been around for a while, like I was saying. I've known him. I've always been cool with him, but he never got to be on one of my teams until 5.2, and that took up until like year 8, maybe year 8, year 9. So he's only been around for like 2 years or so, and yeah, I'd say he's like the longest standing. Like if I put Mr. Snipe on the roster, I'd say that he would be the oldest by like 4 years total. But yeah, none of the guys that's currently on the team were like around back when I created 5.2.
Okay, uh, so on average, okay, how long has this current team been playing together? As far as not ranked stats, but just as far as the 5.2, how long has this current roster been playing together?
Uh, I'd say almost 2 years. about somewhere around there. If you want to include extinction, like if you were to say he's a part of the starting five or whatever, I'd say it's around 2 years or whatever. But uh, like I said, Jeff is brand new. I've never been on a team with Jeff until this iteration. So yeah, I guess you could say that.
Um, 2 years. That's actually, I think, one of the. Besides, I think like CC. I think that's actually one of the longest standing, and maybe Miami Neon. I think that's one of the longest standing rosters.
Yeah, consistent rosters for sure. I saw an argument today in Scissors chat about who's the longest standing team or whatever, and without disbanding or just having a continuous team or whatever, 5.2 is the oldest, and then second oldest was Miami Neon, but you can say they've had the continuous roster as where there's always been different iterations or whatever. But
Oh,
yeah.
CC's been
And
around
then yeah,
for a little
CC's
bit.
been around for a while too. Yeah, no, they've been around a while. Yeah, I'd say about 2 years. They weren't. I don't think they were out immediately when cross-platform hit. That's where Miami Neon started getting their consistency. Holy crap, consistency going or whatever.
Yeah,
That's how I heard
speaking of.
about them. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
so I've heard they actually like. I heard that they started not that good, but then they just kind of stuck together and became one of the top three teams in current console comp.
CC.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's what I was gonna say. So old CC, they weren't that good. We beat them with uh like a garbage iteration of the roster I had. I don't I don't know what happened to them, but they hit their stride within the last year or so.
Hey, that's
Where they're firing on all cylinders, and then now or whatever, it's looking a little shaky. But I mean, they're still a really good team.
hard work and dedication, I guess.
Yeah,
As
it's like a team commitment. It must be a good team environment.
okay, okay. Well, how about circle back 5 point. We'll circle to yourself. Do you have any like as far as console comp like yourself personally, not team? Do you have any
Hmm.
accomplishments?
Like just
Like
going off siege comp or whatever, just not team based.
uh, the first part we're gonna do like yourself, like staff. Have you won any MVPs?
Yeah, I've won MVPs. I got a lot of them during seasons 1 and 2 of Scissors League or whatever. I'd say a lot of them. I'm tied for the most right now. I think at 3.
This oh
But
oh.
I didn't. Nowadays, I know I'm not skilled enough to keep it competitive and my own team. Just it's just a statement of how good my players are and how good comp has gotten or whatever. But
All right,
I don't
let's
know. I pride myself on being the IGL and being the old guard, still thriving in the
let's
new metas.
let's pause chat. If y'all want to if y'all want a hint, I think 5.2 has, correct me if I'm wrong, 5 of the top 10 chips. Well, I don't know about this
Uh,
current season, but I know last season 4 or 5 of them were
Jeff,
top 10.
Tom, Extinction, Viz, Symphy. Yeah, that's 5.
Yeah, so that just puts a little stigma on 5.2 and how good that they are and can be. If I do think sometimes if y'all put a little more effort into the comp scene and rank as you do in rank, I don't think anybody would stop you personally.
Yeah, I don't know. That's what I'm hoping with this iteration of 5.2. We can try to figure that out or whatever. Cause I mean, we got everything we could need to possibly win all the leagues or whatever. It's just getting across the last finish line because we were plagued with getting the finals or semifinals and then choking with the current rosters. We have a 2-1 lead and then throw it, but I'm hoping with the acquisition of Jeff, it lights a fire under the team's ass to we want to close this out and win.
Oh, okay, we'll see. Because this is, correct me if I'm wrong, he's like relatively a couple months new.
Yeah, the playoffs that we have going now with Kyanite and University League, this is the first showing of Jeff being a part of the starting five, especially in like a playoffs context. So we've been looking good. Uh, Personally, I'd rather take it more serious. I'm not as much as I like the game and I have fun playing it. I prefer to keep it more like professional. Like I'd rather do like super in-depth strats with like Google Docs and just running a super tight system. But I recognize that that's not really how comp meta is nowadays, and games are more reliant on getting won by gunfights, and that's why I got to take on the support role and IGL more than I have ever had to keep myself in with the team while we have all these gunners and all that.
I will say PC's kind of still. It's a lot more strat heavy than console. Console's running gun meta. I will
Yeah,
say that.
yeah, for sure.
Okay, but so you said got a little off trail. You got about 3 MVPs and scissors. That's the only league you got any like awards in?
I mean, there's probably others, but I don't think many leagues do like MVPs. I think it's more like player of the weeks, and like I said, I've gotten a few here and there, but I don't really keep track of that stuff.
Oh, a
Like,
humble guy.
like I said, comparatively, I know I'm not as good as like my team on an individual basis, but you're not gonna find a better IGL than me. You're not gonna find someone who's like more committed to winning the game than me.
Okay, I mean,
I bring
see,
stuff out of the server and in the
yeah,
server
when
that
you
other people aren't gonna bring.
play Siege, right, it is a very fun game.
Yeah.
And so what about staff? Are you like staff in any leagues? You know, director, admin, mod, whatever their staff roles are.
I think I'm like an admin in Scissors League, and that's about it. I don't really spend my time being staff in other leagues. It's just not really my thing.
Okay, it's fine.
I
Hey,
troll too much to be a part of administration, unfortunately.
if you know Stretch, you know that is 110% true. The troll king over here, Femboy Slayer.
Hmm.
Okay, so get away from self. What are some what are some team accomplishments y'all have? Like how many possibly we can say how many MVPs has you said you probably don't keep track of that number, and I'm sure y'all have a lot, especially with the roster you got now. But
Yeah,
we'll say how many league wins do y'all have as a estimate? Do you think?
it's hard to keep track because, like I
Oh,
said, we've had this team going for a while, and like at one point we had won the same league 6 times under 5.2,
the
and
same
so
league 6 times.
yeah, yeah, the same. Like I kid you not, we won Lunar League like 6 out of the 8 seasons it ran while we were in there,
Oh boy, you own
and
Lunar.
like I think we won 3 or 4 under. No, it would have had to be 4 or 5 due to like one of our old deals we had with HMC. So there's like at least 5 or at least 4 in HMC. There is 6 or 7 in No Mercy, like 2 in Double OG, and now we're starting off our little run in a Black Hole with a win in the Black Hole League and hoping to transfer it to the University League and Kyanite League.
Yeah, I'll tell you that this season in Black Hole is gonna be a little tougher.
Yeah, you say that, or y'all say that. I saw some people saying CC's gonna take it this season or whatever, but like I said, if we're firing on all cylinders, there shouldn't be any reason
If y'all,
as to why we don't win
I
it.
say if y'all want to win, I think you're top two easily,
Yeah, for sure.
easily top two. But
Yep.
so so you'd say I think you named about 10 league wins overall as a team. I would say somewhere around there.
I'd say that there's definitely more than that. Like,
Well, we know you suck
because it's
at
gonna
keeping
sound
track.
off egotistical, but I'd say it's closer to like 25, 20 around that area. But is that really good for a team that's been around for as long as we have? I don't think it is. I I pride myself more in having a constant roster or a constant team rather than consistently winning leagues. Like there's been times where we won all the leagues, and there's been times that we've thrown all the leagues, and at least I could say we've made playoffs in every iteration that I've ever ran.
I will say that personally, in my opinion, I think the biggest award is maintaining the same roster for 2 years. As being rather new to console comp, as far as like I kind of got into some mid stuff, but I've only been in like I guess you can say this scene for I don't even know if it's been a year yet. It's close, coming up on it if it hasn't. But I will say it seems the hardest to keep a consistent roster with the way egos go in console comp and whatnot.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'll say 2 years is personally huge. Like I think that's the biggest accomplishment rather than a league win.
Yeah, yeah, no, for sure. Like I like the group of guys we got right now. Everyone's pretty like tight knit, close together. I mean, they spend all their time in ranked together. I will if I'm available, but I just don't find ranked to be that fun as much as they do. They're striving for leaderboards, and I just like keeping up with the scene. That's where my full focus is. But I know, like, I like having the accomplishment of having a consistent roster, but just having the consistent 5.2 name being around for as long as it has, as compared to other teams, I think that's a huge accomplishment in and of itself.
I will say 5.2 is one of those names everybody knows.
Yeah.
But all right, let's get back into the comp scene a little bit here. And we talked about the team and yourself. How would you say since you started in the league side of comp, how would you say it's changed since then? Like,
Well,
for instance, I'll give you some like okay, maybe like what's gotten better in your opinion with maybe
mhm,
leagues, teams, orgs. What do you think's gotten worse, and then maybe
yeah.
some what caused this stuff like that.
Yeah, so I'd say the most apparent thing, like if you were to like time travel back into like 2019, 2020, you're not going to recognize as many good players as you will now. I think overall players are way better now than what they were. Uh, but you're going to find a lot more teams back then than you would today. I don't know if that's a testament to how deep the player pool was back then as compared to it is now. But I think as the meta's changed and as like time has gone on, teams have gotten on average better than what they were back then. But there's just less of a pool now. Um,
I think
Obviously, I'd like to say that it's due to metas. Why that's happened. Comp was more enjoyable when there was less players that had like insane aim, and it was more of a team-based game. Like you can get away in the contemporary period on having 1 to 2 really good players to carry your team, and having like a backline of supports. I don't think that's personally a fun way to play the game, but that's just like frankly how you have to play it nowadays. You need gunners. Strats aren't as big as they were back then. I think that's why we lost a lot of players and why we've gotten more teams since then. But yeah, I'd say that's like one of the main reasons. But I'd say the metas are to blame for it too, or to take credit for it, however you want to look at it.
I will say like personally, and me, I think passion has died overall, and I like you said, I think that plays into the meta, and I think it plays into the everybody they see these gunners on Twitch, they see them on TikTok, and they want to be that, but nobody understands like I still stand on the grounds that five gunners ain't gonna win a team against like two gunners and three really skilled high IQ guys. But nobody really sees that anymore. They see everybody gunning, getting the 16 kills a game, seeing the 18, the flashiness and all that, and I think it just gets in their head and they just lose passion because they're not a frag.
Yeah, well, yeah. So I could agree with that. Like you get the people that have come from like Jinxie tourneys or Jinxie streams, and they want to be like the next like Spoy, the next Bolo, and stuff like that on console. But you're not gonna be able to get far uh playing and streaming in like a supportive role. Like that's not how you retain viewers and you have like viewership retention or whatever. It's not fun to watch, unfortunately. Uh, it's more fun watching like people play super aggro and making the hero plays because that's what gets you views. But uh, not everyone can do it. Like there's people that are gonna do it better than others, and
Yes.
with having like two gunners and three high IQ players, yeah, that's exactly what you need to win. But there's not enough egoless players to play like that in the scene, I think, especially at the higher up teams or whatever. Most of the higher up teams are gonna just be like gunners that are shifting themselves onto supportive roles and uh, adding to their team that way.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I will say I do agree with that completely. Like when it comes to Siege, I think content creation is determined on the game. Like COD, you can have the sweats, and then you can have the like the trick shotters, the quick scopers. Like Siege is the game where I don't want to see none of that. Like I just want to see somebody going and like you said, do the hero plays. Like every now and again, like what's the one dude's name? McNasty or something. They got some funny stuff, but they're still like a lot of their clips. They're still gunning and whatnot.
Hmm.
But I would say Siege is one of those where there's not a whole lot of like outside content that's really you can do and get away with for keeping a stream
Yeah.
base.
Yeah, and that's what sucks because like with Jinxie, he's helped out the comp scene with like getting in more viewership, but it's only to the streamers and not it's not translating to the league very well, like the league aspect of Siege. And like that's unfortunate because like the tourneys are really good about having like good money. Like you can get I
Good,
know like
good
there's always a
quick money.
$20,000 tourney streams or whatever, but it's not realistically that much. It might be 2 grand. You split it between 5 players. That's still really good money, especially for only like a weekend's worth or 2 days worth of play, something like that. But it's only that long, and like that's really good for viewer retention. But like I find that like that attracts a younger audience as far as the age goes, but comp attracts like older people that like find commitment more appealing. They find team orientation more appealing. Like aspects of Siege like that that's not appealing to like the Twitch audience that you get from Jinxie and all these other like streamers like that.
Yeah, okay, yeah, like so I will say Jinxie kind of ruined like you said console comp or comp in general with the tournaments, but he did revive the game. So can't take that from him. But
Oh yeah, for sure.
yeah, like you
I mean, you gotta
said,
give him his flappers for it.
oh, definitely. But like you said, it's like the tournaments is for the people who don't want like to me Siege. I like comp scene. I want to build a team, you know, because I came
Yeah.
from like COD. I came from Fortnite, Apex. I did the comp in several games. I've always loved having the team because it's just fun. There's so much you can do it with a tourney. You might not even have a team. You might be like three randoms and you're just really good at the game, and then you just see each other for the weekend, get your little 500 apiece, 100 apiece, whatever the pool is that day, and then that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And it's like I feel like tournaments aren't as intimate as leagues are if you want to take it that way. I feel that like I was saying earlier, like you build team camaraderie through leagues and stuff. Like that's really what's gonna tell you if these groups of guys are gonna be there like to play the game for an extended period of time. You know,
Oh,
like stuff like that. I think that's harder to do than get a five for a few hours
oh,
on a
that
Saturday
in tournaments
going.
don't necessarily prove a whole lot, because at the same time,
No?
it's like everybody can have a bad day.
Yeah.
I mean, like
Yeah, and
you
you
still
like
got to be good, but it's like
yeah.
we've seen in I think like the one of the newer leagues, Champions League, just had the quals tournament. You see some good teams that lost. It's just bad days. Whereas like as a league season, they kind of got more chances to prove themselves than that one little bout.
Yeah, and I'll use like old 5.2 for example. We weren't like the best players in the game. Like we didn't have as near as good as individual players as we do now, but like we might have had a better like environment to play against because of the play style we had. We had a super strat heavy and defensive environment and a very like coordinated, methodical attacking push, that would like it'd be really hard to play against because we put in the time to do scrims. We put in the 7, 8 weeks of regular season games, and then the amount of like VOD review or strats and dry runs that goes into playing like a league as compared to like prepping for a tournament. It's hard to prep for a tournament. You don't know who you're gonna play.
That
You don't
yeah,
know how they're gonna play, what they're good at playing against, how they play. Like it's just like stuff like that. There's more opportunities for, I'd say, a team's higher skill ceiling in comp as compared to like tournaments.
I would definitely see that. So back to the good and what's gotten better and worse. Let's go to the league standpoints. Like, what has changed in leagues that you've liked and that you haven't liked? We can do leagues and orgs and kind of touch on both.
Um, So I'd say within like the last 2 to 3 years, there's been more orgs than what happened back then. I think orgs are finding out that there's a chance to grow their brand through playing Siege and having a successful roster, and orgs are taking the chance to initiate paid per game or like incentives like that to like promote like team longevity and camaraderie, like stuff like that. So I think that's like really good for this scene in like many aspects, but especially like in the context of like having orgs. For like the negative aspects of it, I guess. Uh, I'd say that the amount of leagues, like the physical number of leagues, has gone down. Uh, but the quality of games have risen. So it's more up to the individual to choose what they like. Like you get more quality, but you lose the quantity. It just depends which one you favor, I guess. I've always been for like more quality. I'd rather have quality opponents, quality leagues that have streams, hand out awards and stuff like that. Like that, the idea of awards and streaming, I felt was foreign back then, and like nowadays it's becoming more common. It's not like the basis for how leagues are to be like ran, but like you can tell if a league's gonna be good if they cast games every week or if they do tournaments. It shows that they care about the league from like the admin perspective. I don't think admins cared enough back then because they didn't recognize the potential Siege had as compared to now.
Yeah, I get that. It's like the whole reason, like, my whole standpoint is like, how do you word it? It's like, I just want everybody to kind of be happy. It's like, what's the point of doing it if it feels like a job, essentially? Like, for y'all and for me. It's like, these people play. I'm sure they want to see themselves play a game. I'm sure, they're competitive. They want to do some, like, you can't do VOD reviews if nothing's being casted
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So I kind of get that. I wasn't around to see the leagues back then, but it does, like, I think I see some remnants of some leagues that have been around where it's like match chat game. All right, here's the winner. And then you got newer
Yeah,
leagues
that's how
where
it's been for
yeah,
years.
yeah. Then you got newer leagues where they actually like some leagues don't cast regular season, but they'll cast the entire playoffs or whatever. Usually now most leagues have the finals casted. I will say that.
Hmm.
So like, is there anything about the new leagues systems or new league meta, whatever you want to call it, that you don't like?
Um, trying to think. I don't like about leagues. Sometimes I feel that leagues, like they get a successful like first season or like a season, they have the formula that was like good or whatever, but they don't ever want to expand upon it. Especially in like the creative sense, not too much in the game sense. Like I don't think adjusting how games are played or like stuff like that is good unless that's the gimmick you want to go for. Like I thought Hyper Series, if you were around for that, had a really cool gimmick, kind of like how Pro League Tier 1 play is they had like specific days to play on that was agreed by like teams and Ubisoft or whatever. Uh, that added a really cool gimmick to the game that no other league had tried before.
Yeah, I wasn't around for
Um,
that, but I've heard about it.
yeah, it had like specific days to be played. It had like special casting and graphics and like an org store or a team store with like merchandise that it looks professionally done. And it was like a cool aspect that like leagues got to or hyper series got to do. And it showed like the passion or whatever, but other leagues just do not have the passion to do that. And that's what I think sucks about like comp nowadays is you have the facilities and the technology and the people to do this type of stuff, but they just don't want to like be the first to do it and be made of it of an example of like failure or whatever.
Yeah,
Like
so
I've been saying for years, leagues should try doing like a weekly recap or a podcast with like a person of the week or something like that. And it's like no leagues have ever done it. Like I threw the idea out to you before, and you probably had the idea like, hey, this would be super cool. Like I'm not the only person that thought of it. I'm sure other people have, but no one's ever like gone out and actually done the thing. And
I'm
that's what
doing
I like.
I'm doing
I
the
feel like
podcast.
leagues nowadays are like scared to take the chance.
So I got a couple of so yes, I will say like what you said right there. I think they're scared to fail for some reason, and it's like to me some of the things I wanted to do, like as a own league owner myself, like other leagues have kind of come up with, and then it's like okay, I just don't want to be the fourth copy and pasted league at this point type of thing, and it's like so I want to kind of do that unique thing, but at the same time, it's like you can say there's less teams, but it seems like
Yeah,
there's more leagues than ever, and it's like get that weird inconsistency where I think in Champions League they did it where there's like 70 something teams, but realistically throughout all the leagues, most leagues aren't pulling. I think we just had one of the biggest seasons without begging people to join or asking
yeah,
for
hmm
with like 39, and I mean that was it's hectic. But I was like, other
yeah.
than
No, that's
that,
a huge turnout.
yeah, other than that, you really only seeing 25 at most usually in these leagues, so you're not really getting that. And I think because of that, people are scared to take that like that step when they're like, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'd say it's rare to have a league surpass 20 teams for their season or whatever. That's an indicator of like a good league or whatever. Like there's usually a gimmick of that league that like attracts these other teams or whatever. But like with champions, like the qualifiers or whatever, the quality wasn't there, the quantity was there, but I don't know, it felt like yeah, like I knew like Champions League reached out to everyone under the sun, but like a bunch of those teams weren't gonna go past qualifiers as far as like longevity, availability, like however you want to like say it or stake it or whatever. Like those are just like I kind of always feel like they were like placeholder teams.
Yeah, that's why I say like
But
some of the teams in there, like many of us ain't even didn't even know was a team.
yeah, no, like it was gonna like it felt like those teams weren't like high skill level either. Like it felt like a bunch of them were like made just for qualifiers and were gonna disband after it if they didn't make it. Like it has all the negatives of forming a team. Like there wasn't camaraderie or commitment in there that you
Yeah,
need from teams.
yeah, like we had an idea. Like I wanted to do it, then I realized that you can't do night maps anymore. I wanted to do like a mini season of nothing but a night map pool because I was like, I thought that'd have been cool, like pretty cool. I ain't seen nothing, but then I was like, they don't have where you can play night maps anymore. Kind of sucks, but that's a pretty cool idea. But it's like you said, people are just scared. It's like if it fails, it fails. That doesn't mean your league fails. It just means that idea failed. Like I think Carnage. What is what does what do they call it in Champions? Was it Carnage? Carnival?
Carnival.
It didn't work
Carnival.
out, and they just kind of did their own thing. Like, okay, we didn't get enough
Yeah.
signups. Whatever. I mean, that's the worst that's gonna happen is you don't get signups and you just do a normal season. But that's
Yeah.
where it's like there's not a whole, like you said, a quality of teams, and I think there's a lot of leagues trying to start, and it's like there are some leagues, honestly, I know, call me hypocritical, a little late in the game, but there's a lot of leagues. If you just get some of these people together instead of creating one, work together, there'd be some good outcomes. Personally speaking.
Yeah, and that's like what I was saying with like the gimmick aspects of a league or whatever. Like if they have their own niche that they're trying to fulfill, I think Carnival could have been successful if it was its own league and not a league within a league, if you understand what I'm trying to say. Like I'd
Okay.
be more open to ideas like that. I wouldn't mind seeing leagues return to the 3-3 split, but
Pe-
being a separate
People would
entity from
complain about
something like
pro
a black
league.
hole.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if you want to have more lax I guess versions of like league play, you could do that. I'd like to see stuff like that. I may not participate in it just because I have aspirations and demands elsewhere, but I like seeing more leagues pop up because that eventually gets more players active into the scene or whatever. I
Okay.
don't know. I just don't feel like there's not enough creative commitment around these days.
I feel you on that one, Annie. I can definitely feel you on that one. All right, let's get into some more. Let's say get into this. This would be a little more opinionated for you. Um, because I think most people, I feel like I know their answer, and we'll just see how you feel about it. But do you think console players are overlooked compared?
Compared to PC players?
Yes, like we can say competitive scene. Do you think like the Jinxies, the Stompins, or well, we don't. Well, let's not even name the mainstreamers. Let's just name in general,
Hmm.
because like I'm a firm believer. I think console comp coming from several games. I think they're highly slept on. Like there are some unknown gunners in console comp.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Uh, I mean, yeah, it's. I feel like a lot of people we have in the scene right now, they could probably not pro immediately, like someone like Stompin has something like that, but with the like correct amount of dedication and stuff like that, they could definitely make pro league, and that's what sucks about it. A bunch of like the old guard of pro league and people that are like playing it now, like they came from console, but they had the X factor that a bunch of players today don't have, and that's like commitment to like growing as an individual and like taking the game more seriously. Like I feel like yeah, it's comp is a hobby, but I wouldn't treat it as such. I'd treat it as an actual occupation. If you're there to solely just to have fun, then I don't think comp would be for you. But I feel like a bunch of players that we have today could like make their way into comp just on merit and skill alone. But it's just the translation of are they actually good on mouse and keyboard? It's kind of like iffy on that part, but you can get good at that stuff. Some players are going to be more gifted at mouse and keyboard than others or whatever. Uh, like I
It's,
quickly realized like I had aspirations to go pro league, challenger league, stuff like that, but I recognize I'm not going to be good enough mechanically on like mouse and keyboard. So if I were to fill a niche in pro league or something, I would feel more comfortable using brain power to like be a coach or an analyst or something like that. And like I've talked to like some like teams in the past and like individual players in the past or whatever. Like a good friend of mine named Revan, he was the analyst for SSG, so I've like talk to him about stuff like that. And I'm big in the EU scene. That's where I like put a lot of my attention is EU and NA. But I have like I guess relationships, if you want to call it that, with EU. solely off the basis that I'm like bilingual and can speak Italian. So I've talked to the ex Makers roster or Matchco, whatever you want to call them. Like, I'm cool with Gemini, who is on the X roster, and like the staff team like that. That would have to be a role that I could feel personally, but it's just that's where I've noticed that's the niche I would have to feel.
It's
But then,
pretty
like
good.
for everyone else, though, it's just kind of they would also need to find their niche that they need to fulfill. Not everyone can be a player.
Yeah, well,
Uh,
it's the same with like not every PC player can play on a roller.
yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's essentially no different than that. To me, it's just really on PC. The only difference is you're gonna have a lot of PC players tend to have more IQ when they play. Not saying that they're smarter, but they just have more IQ, and it's just a different. It's like comparing apples to oranges sometimes.
Yeah, it's just a different environment because I'd say on average, PC players' aim is more average and consistent to each other. As we're like, if you get the average console player against a top champ, there's going to be a night and day difference between the quality and of aim and stuff like that. And that's why like console players rely on their aim as to where they don't rely on their brain as much, where you have to have some X factor on
Mhm.
PC to make it far. Like you need to have the ability to IGL, you need to have the ability to like play make and like think at a higher rate because not everyone can rely on their aim.
That's a pretty.
That's why
Pretty.
in the GOAT argument of like Pro League, that's why there's more of an argument for a bunch of IGLs being the GOAT of Siege. You look at like someone like Pingu or Canadian, they're not known for their aim. They're
Leaky
known for
fact.
their
Leaky
ability to
fact.
like shot call and to lead a team. You
Like
don't have to have the best aim on PC to be successful. You gotta have some X factor.
I go leaky fact. One of the few IGOs that can frag when he needs to. Canadian can too, but yeah. But like you said, it's just different scene. But before we wrap this up, let's get into some more fun questions. You can say like some just personally fun, quick remembrances, whatever we do. Let's start with maybe like you got a favorite preferred operator. You can do attacker, defender if you got one for each, or overall, and then a favorite map.
Okay. Um, I really like info operators. I really love playing Pulse, or operators like that. I like playing traps or whatever. So like Forever Legion was one of my favorite operators. Valkyrie's always been up there. Like the ability to like have uh informational gadgets I think has always been attractive to me. So even like on attack or whatever, I love playing Lion. Like Brava nowadays is cool. Like just stuff like that. Somewhere where it's flexible to where it's more support oriented and like the theory of the operator, but like you can still have the ability to frag if need be.
What about your map? Got a favorite preferred map?
Favorite preferred map. Uh, I really like uh Chalet because I feel like it's one of the most balanced maps, and you have the ability to like strat or like make strats that are out of the ordinary that aren't default like copy and paste as to where you get something like Clubhouse, which is very copy and paste, rinse and repeat. You can have variability in Chalet. So I really like maps like that. Like I can't like if I had to make a something like a statement like that, I'd say like Chalet, something like Night Haven. Those are all really cool.
A
Even
layer.
though like my teams may not like it, the individual in me loves those maps.
Love layer. Layer is slept on to me. There's still a
I
lot
like
you
Lair
could
a
do
lot
with
too.
layer in Night Haven. But yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
I was a really big advocate for getting Stadium Bravo into comp. I love Stadium Bravo.
Oh yeah, that's a fun one too. So what about let's go into maybe your biggest clutch or your possible worst fail. Yeah.
I'd say the newer 5.2 is like known for being choker. So like my biggest failures is like throwing leads in grand finals that like we shouldn't have. Like there's been multiple leagues where I've done that. So it's like hard to like name just one because there's been like a few examples, but like uh I guess like clips or like achievements or whatever. I had this like I remember my first ever ESL game with I guess like my first ever comp game or whatever when I was with Crazy or Dizzer or whatever you want to call him by now. Uh I had like a 1v5 clutch with Dokkaebi in like year 4 and I was like I really liked Dokkaebi back then, but I was a demon on the C75, like the pistol SMG thingy with the like horrible iron sights or whatever.
Oh yeah, the
I got like a
OG.
a crazy clutch with her on like cafe top floor, and it was like it went from a 2v5 to a 1v4 really quick, and I somehow won it. Yeah, and that was
Okay.
my first ever comp game was a 22 kill game. And it's like hard to believe that
Big stretch
I
in the
was dropping
house.
those no exactly. Like I
Okay.
rarely ever see those numbers, but my first ever team being a 22 is insane.
That's a crazy intro. Okay. Good little one. Oh, this one will be let's see if we got some bias or maybe just some humbleness in this one. Who do you think as of currently is possibly the most underrated comp player?
Underrated comp player?
Yeah, like it was console. We'll stick to Well, yeah, we'll go console.
Console.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll stick to what this is about.
Um, underrated. Um, you may not know him. He was on Runner's team. His name's Rome Clear.
Roam clear?
He's a
Yeah.
yeah, he's like 14, 15, something like that. Super young. Dude is really mature for his age, which like you need that to like get far in the world in general, but like he has like aspirations of becoming a streamer and he's not like the Charlie Worleys of the world where he like gets clout off of being annoying and like stuff like that or whatever. He's super mature, but he's also really good at the game.
Okay.
Like he's got like crazy gun skill. He listens very well.
Hey, them youngins when they got them reflexes, you can't tell them. Ooh,
Oh
they're
yeah,
deadly. I remember when I was that age.
yeah
I
for
sound
sure.
old now. Okay, so shout out to Roam Clear. Shout out to Roam Clear. All right, we got a few more little fun questions to ask. What's possibly the most toxic thing you've ever done in a match?
Oh, in a match?
Yes.
Huh. I mean, I've probably. Oh, okay. It was against Runner as well. Uh, one of my second teams, my old team Prometheus or whatever. We played a playoffs against Runner, and he had us 10-man hand cams. Well, I mean that's kind of annoying, but I have fun with it. So I was in their ear the whole time during the round, after the round. If I got a kill, you were gonna hear me talking. I was getting toxic in the hand cam. I miss doing hand cams, Colin.
Everybody's afraid to
Yeah,
call them now because I guess the other team that's going to try to call them's got cheaters on their team too. I was like, man, I just had this. Well, then we have to hand cam. I said, what do you got to hide?
yeah, exactly. I don't know. I miss doing that.
Oh,
Hand camming is fun. It may be like an annoyance to like get it set up, but it's fun to do it sometimes too.
okay. We here,
I always had
here's
fun with it.
here's a little double we got. Maybe who's the worst? If you want to say who's the worst teammate you've ever had, and what made them that bad? Whether it be skill, attitude, which falls under ego, inconsistency.
Worst teammate. Hmm, that's a hard one.
Hope they don't listen this far.
I'm trying to think. I can give you an answer. I just have to think about it.
Memory.
Calling it your bad.
Oh, the
Calling it
team
your
the
bad is
team
my
whore.
yeah. Back then, because I was on a team with him like around year 7, year 8, to where there wasn't many like gunners as there is now, like individual like fraggers that were just crazy at the game. Uh, so he got away with being like able to be an entry fragger and just play the frag role, but he didn't really have a huge ego. The ego wasn't the problem. It was his play style. He has a very like bait heavy play style. Even like nowadays, uh, it's like crazy to say he's known for it because he's not really known. But people recognize him for having a baity play style where he crouch walks around the map as Thorn. Obviously, that's going to put a sour taste in people's mouth. But
Oh yeah.
when you also add to the context that uh, he's not a really good teammate, as he doesn't like show commitment to teams, and he's like a team hopper now. That's not a good sign. And additionally, while I lived in Italy and was out of comp for a few months or whatever, uh, like running the team but not like actively playing, uh, he lied about something I said in a stream, and he relayed that this message to the players and basically poached this whole team, only for the whole team to like come back to me after a little bit, and it was like an unnecessary rebuild I had to do because he was just kind of wanting to take over this team as like for his selfish desires, whatever you want to call it. And it's really annoying. So ever since then, I find it's ironic that he took away like a good relationship and like team environment we had, and he's never been on a good team and since then, and has been like made out as a bad guy in the scene and stuff like that.
Yeah, I gotta hate when they put the words in your mouth. Got to hate
Yeah,
it. Um,
I just think that the irony doesn't like dawn upon me. It's crazy because I'm friends with all the people that were on this team back then.
okay. So here's what's to go along with that. If you've had one, what would you say would be the pettiest reason you've kicked somebody off of your team?
Pettiest reason I've kicked someone off the team.
If you
Um,
if you were to if no matter what would you say would be the pettiest if even if it wasn't petty intentions?
uh, so I still think I was kind of valid for doing it. Maybe from an outsider's perspective, you can give me some insight on it. But old 5.2 is like it was a night and day difference for like how he played. Like we ran Google Doc strats, and like I put a enormous amount of time into like making my own strats and not like copy and pasting from like Pro League or something like that. It was like all original strats that I had fun doing. I put hours into like playing, like stuff like that. Uh, we had a scrim, and I said, "Hey, whoever doesn't make this, or no, it was a league game. Whoever doesn't make this scrim and runs the strats, they're not playing in the league game." Well, this guy didn't show up for the scrim to test out these new strats or whatever. So he didn't play the league game, and he got like super sour because of that. And he said like, I'm not gonna play scrims for this team. Like I'll just look at the Google Doc and we'll do it from there. And I was like, okay. So I just removed him from the team for that.
I mean, I could so that's both. It's valid, but it's a petty valid. Like you said,
Yeah.
I'm that type of person too. It's like, well, if everybody else is doing it and you're not special, buddy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I'd say it's valid. It's definitely petty, but it's valid.
Like if you're not as committed as to winning leagues, then you can just say so.
Yeah, if you want to be a Debbie Downer, just say so. Oh, okay. You want to name drop them or?
Yeah, I'll say so because I'm not really in a bad environment with him anymore. Zanny me,
Who?
like Xanni, Zanny.
Oh, I think
He's
I've.
on a team called Humbugs right now.
Yeah, I was about to say. I think I've seen that name somewhere. Okay. Or maybe he's improved a little bit since
Maybe.
then. Since then.
I don't know.
Okay, well, here's an interesting one. All right, keep in mind, troll picks only. No serious like with this question. Like you'll understand it when I say troll picks only. But build your dream comp team.
My dream comp team?
Yes.
Okay. Uh,
We'll
Roam
do.
clear.
Yeah, we'll do 10 if you
Okay.
can do 10. Just do the number you can.
10 players?
Yeah, do the number you can. It don't.
Holy shit.
At
Okay.
least five. At least five.
Uh, okay. Is this like past players or like
In
players
general.
that are around right now?
In general, just
Like,
build your dream team. We'll just do five. Make it easy. Just build your starting
okay, well,
five.
I'd say myself on a flex roll.
Selfish.
Froggles on a second support role, so like your mute, like operators like that, SMG11 operators. Roam clear on one of the entries. Effie on one of the other entries. Day Kiri on the main hard support role. And that would be my 5.
Okay. Okay. Some of those sound like some old guys. I don't think I've heard the Kyrians. Is that what you said?
Day Kiri is on the 5.2 roster right now.
Oh, maybe I just not seeing the spelling and pronunciation.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then like everyone else you should know. Oh, besides Froggles, I don't think you know Froggles.
Yeah, Fargles is the other one I didn't know. Everybody else I know. But
Yeah,
okay.
he's one of the best SMG11 players I've ever seen.
Gotta hate those guys. Ah, hate to see a good
He didn't even
SMG
like
though.
playing it. He was just that good at it.
You gotta hate it too. He don't even like it, and he's just dominating with it. But okay, good little. Sounds like you got a little good winning team. Good chemistry there. I'm assuming with those five.
Yeah, like if I could round all those dudes up today, I think we'd have like a pretty successful roster. Especially if it was like under my old style of Siege where I want to like play Google Docs, play strat heavy. Oh, that team would be crazy.
Okay. Let's just get some little closing thoughts in here. Excuse me. Is there any personal shout outs you would want to give? Teams,
Uh,
players, leagues, orgs.
Sure, I'll shout one out. So ever since crossplay came out, my besides my own team, of course, I've been a huge Miami Neon fan, and I hate having to see the way that the team's going right now. So I'd like to just if they for chance hear it for some reason, just let them know that they're my favorite team aside from my own, because the old play style they used to run
Oh,
and
they're
like people they still got there. I wish they would reform to their old ways and like be that strat heavy team in comp. But
they're so nostalgic to watch too, because they do play like 1.0.
yeah, they play an old style of Siege, which I thoroughly enjoy watching, and I miss playing against and with that style. But yeah, if I wish Watson would get the gang back together and be more committed again.
What I hear, they're just getting old.
Yeah.
It happens though. You hate to see it. Oh, before the last couple of things, what are your thoughts on CJX? It's coming up in next month, I believe. Have any thoughts on
Yeah.
the 6v6, the new style?
I'm not gonna play the game mode probably. I probably would. I'll mess around with it, but that's about it. I don't think I'm gonna take it serious at all. Um, like the map changes. I have bad eyes, so hopefully it's not gonna be too dark to where like I can't see someone, but like the actual like ingredients change with the environment, like the beepers and
Yeah,
fire extinguishers. I'm excited for that because it adds
that'd
another
be
like element
yes.
to where I
That
can abuse the game with my brain.
So where I
in that
stay,
aspect.
yeah, where I see on it is it's like I can't tell you if I'm gonna fully like it or not, but I respect it because they had the courage and the balls, you could say, to actually change the game. And I respect game companies that aren't afraid to take that step and actually do something game changing rather than add a cosmetic item, add a battle pass, add something little. Like they actually are taking the game and changing it. And whether I'm gonna like it or love it, I have nothing but respect for it.
Yeah, for sure. I said that's the aspect I'm most excited for in the whole thing is the actual like change to the game itself and not like the imagery of it, I guess. Like microtransactions and etc. But
Oh, shout out to Ubisoft. Same game for what, 10 years now?
yeah, and they're making changes to it.
Come
I said
on, Call
hopefully
of
the
Duty.
changes are gonna be good.
Step it up, Call of Duty. Why are you releasing a new game every year?
Same game every year.
Same game every year for $80, 180,000 gigs.
Mhm.
But anyways, let's get back. You got any final messages for anybody up and coming, anybody still here in the console comp scene? Any final words for them? Words of encouragement,
Uh
discouragement.
yeah, well I'd say come come to play comp with an idea of what you want to do. If you want to be a fragger, then play frag. But if you want to be successful, you got to find your niche into where you fit into the comp scene. So if you know that you're not the greatest player, maybe running a league is going to be your forte. Maybe that's well you make your print. Where you will make
Gee,
your print in the league. Uh like I was saying earlier, like the young guys are stepping up. They're taking over I guess just Siege in general. So like just find your niche and whatever you're good in. I guess that's what I'd close out with.
okay, okay. Well, we appreciate you coming by, stepping, giving your expertise. I learned a lot personally. I'm not gonna even lie. There's a lot of stuff like I'm interested in like kind of how it used to be. Mr. Forgetful, maybe the next guest will remember a little more, but you still gave a good insight and everything. Is there a way that people can, follow you or keep in touch with you? I know you're pretty active in Scissors, SSL, SXL, SW, Scissors League, whatever you know them as.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty active on Discord, whatever. I don't really do social media. I'm just not like into content creation, but I'm always replying on Discord to anything, and I'm always playing other games like For Honor and stuff like that. But yeah, if you want to talk to me for some reason, then my Discord is always open.
Yeah, you
You'll
can.
more likely send me or see me sending femboy stuff
Yeah, it's that stress.
or rage baiting some
I've
of you.
learned there's two stretches. It's not the one affiliated with Wild Boys. Okay, it's the stretch with the, I don't know what's your picture. Is it the Billie Eilish looking?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's that one.
Yeah, the Billie Eilish one.
Yeah, he's in most leagues, so he's not hard to find. And thank you for coming out. And this concludes episode one. Toodles. I'm getting Toodles to stick.